let's get a little bit spooky. It is getting close to spooky season and I thrive in the fall. I am dying for it to be fall weather. I literally cannot wait because it's 92 degrees outside and I am over the summer weather in Alabama. You may have seen my Every Romantasy challenge. This is a challenge that was created by Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. She made this really cool little challenge where you read a book for a different trope and had to kind of match it up with a couple of different micro tropes, and it really just helped you step out of your comfort zone, learn a little bit more about what you liked and didn't like in romantasy. Well, she has created one for spooky season as well, and I am so excited to be participating in this. I will leave a link to her announcement video and her TBR down in the description box below. She said that you can use pretty much any genre that you consider spooky and to stretch it to make it work for you. I'm going to be doing primarily thriller and horror because those are the genres that I consider the most spooky. This TBR is a loose TBR. It's what I'm aiming to read, things that I have on my radar right now, but I am very good at making TBRs and not sticking to them. So we'll see how well I stick to it as the months of September, October, and November go on. Those are when I'm going to be trying to kind of complete these challenges, is during the spooky months and the spooky adjacent months, those fall weather months. So she's going to explain in her video how all of this works, but basically you have 8 prompts across the top. You have to match them up with 8 of the unlocking prompts, and then you also have some cover prompts and some bonus prompts as well. So to kick off my TBR, for the first prompt, these are all setting prompts. So there's a different like setting in horror and thriller books, which I think is a lot of fun. The first one is an urban setting, which can just be anything that's kind of set in a more city-like setting that's not a small town or a rural setting. For this one, I'm going to be going with How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. I have tried a Craig DeLuey before and wasn't just completely loving it, so I'm hoping that I can give them a second try and really enjoy this one. It is set on a film setting, and I believe that it's got a haunted camera, and they're trying to make a movie, but the camera is haunted, so they're not able to do it. Something like that, and I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. I really want to know about this haunted demonic camera. And for my unlocking tropes, it's also going to complete new release. It came out a couple of months ago and it has tech on the cover. I don't know if any of these are really going to be completing bonus challenges or not. Those I'm just going to try to hit as I go, so we're not going to really talk about those in this TBR. I'm just going to see what I can hit, and if I can't hit them, then I need to add more books. Then for the summer camp setting, one of my patrons, Sherry, has said that she really liked Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning. I also read Burn the Negative last year and had a lot of fun with it. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting it to be, but I did enjoy it. This one is about a bunch of adults that go to a camp and heads start rolling. That's really all I know about it. It's going to complete the On Someone Else's TBR as well because it's on Cassidy's TBR as well as a bunch of others, and it actually checks off 2 of the cover prompts with Weapon on the cover, Got a Big Axe, and Blood on the cover as well. Next up, we have an isolated setting, and Nat Cassidy is coming out with a new novella that I am itching to get my hands on. I love Nat Cassidy. He is an auto-buy horror author for me. Wrote The Nestlings as well as Mary, and I just devoured both of those. This is a short story slash novella about a guy that is stuck inside a bathroom at a rest stop, and there are someone, I think, trying to get in, but there's also something skittering on the walls, and it just sounds so creepy. I'm going to be also counting this for a novella. She said we could kind of stretch it, so short story, novella, I think both of those were allowed to count. And then I'm going to be pulling one from Cassidy's book, and she said that eyeball was really intended to be like an eyeball on the cover, but this one has a googly eye on it, and she counted it, so I think that means that I can count it too. Next up, we have Small Town. For this one, I'm going to be going with The Hollow Dead by Darcy Coates. This is the 4th and I believe final book in the Gravekeeper series. It's about a girl that can see ghosts. She comes up into this small town with no memory, on the run, realizes that she can see ghosts and is helping them cross over. So think kind of like a cozy mystery, but make it Ghost Whisperer. I have a lot of fun with this series, and I'm excited to see how things are going to continue in the 4th book. And for this one, it is also going to count as an audiobook. I will absolutely be listening to this one. I love consuming them by audiobook. And it has an animal on the cover. If you zoom in really closely, you can see that there is her black cat on the cover. It's very hard to see, but it is there. Next up, we have Southern, which was a lot harder for me than I thought it was going to be. I was just anticipating Southern to be the super easy prompt, but living in the South, I could not think of a lot of Southern books. So asked a couple of people and they suggested the Reformatory, which I've been hearing so many good things about. I've heard it's gut-wrenching, but also really, really good. It is set in the South. I've been dying to read something from this author for a very long time. It's going to hit diverse rep as well, and I don't think that this one actually has anything on the cover that I'm going to be using it for, so we're going to move on to Haunted House. For this one, I'm going to be using We Used to Live Here. This is a Reddit sensation book, I believe, that everyone is talking about. I am dying to read it. I don't know why, but Reddit horror seems to be where it's at. And I don't know anything about this other than it is a haunted house Reddit story, and I've heard good things. This one is also going to count for a new author. I've never read anything by this author before, and it's going to use the window cover prompt. Then we have Coastal, and Coastal theoretically would have been hard, except for I had the perfect book for it. I have been being yelled at. I have had it on many a TBRs to read Through the Looking Glass by Copyright Award. I needed to read it for a million years. Since it came out, I've needed to pick it up. But I've heard from people that I trust that I may not like this despite loving The Last House on Needless Street. I've heard that this may or may not be the book for me. So I'm a little cautiously optimistic, but it is obviously set on the coast of Maine. There is water on the cover, and it's time. It's time for me to read it. This one is going to hit the unlocking prompt of book that I didn't buy. Although I own this one, we're gonna cheat just a little bit, and I'm going to get this book from the library to listen to it so that we can count it for the book that I didn't buy prompt, because that's how I'm going to be consuming the story, is through the library. And last but not least, we have In the Woods. This one I'm going to be using a YA horror by Rin Chapeko. I've read The Bone Witch by her, liked it but didn't love it, but I've heard so many people say good things about her horror books. This one has just like a really creepy tagline on it, and I think it's involving like a gods, and it's set in a jungle, and I don't know, it just sounds really interesting. It is a young adult, so we are going to be able to check it off for the unlocking prompt, and then it also has this creepy like monster vine hand on the cover that's like gripping her throat, so it absolutely will count for hands on the cover, and I don't know, it's very creepy and I'm very excited to pick it up. So that is going to be my tentative TBR for the Every Spooky Challenge. I'm so excited to start checking all of these off and see what is going to hit my bonus challenges. I don't know at all if like vampires, I think I'm gonna have to read something separate for that. I'm assuming something in this will have mixed media. Ghost, I'm gonna be able to use the Hollow Dead for. Serial killer, I'm thinking Heads Will Roll will probably count for a serial killer. Cult, I think I'm gonna be missing unless Sacrifice is gonna count as a cult, so I'll probably be doing maybe the Church of Friendo for that one. And then cannibals, I have no idea. I have no idea if any of these are gonna count for cannibals unless the skittering things in Rest Stop are actually people and they're trying to eat him. I don't know. So there's a decent chance that I'm going to have to read some extra books for this challenge because I have to complete it all. I can't just do the main things. We have to do the bonus challenges as well. So that is everything. I hope that you guys are going to participate. Please go check out Cassidy's video. She worked really hard on this and she explains the challenge in a lot more depth than I do. And that is where you will be able to get your own card in order for you to fill out and make your TBR as well. Thanks guys so much for hanging out. If you missed my Every Romantasy and you want to check that out, I will leave it up here for you guys. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me some kind of horror emoji. Take your pick, dealer's choice, leave me something scary down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!